Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcasts. It's another edition of the big issue. And of course, with me here in the studio is our in-house analyst, James Quinn. As usual, I'm your regular host, Jodagba is the name. The big issue of the day is change of leadership in APC and matters arising. And before we go into the big issue proper, let's look at some of the issues in the news. We have in the news how Ministerial nominee Maryam learned of a shocking replacement at the National Assembly. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today replaced a ministerial nominee, Maryam with Dr. Maria Mahmoud Bunkure from Kano State. Actually, there was no reason for her replacement, but the manner in which her substitution was communicated to her is what most Nigerians say they are shocked. She got to know of her replacement right on the floor of the Senate. And most Nigerians said that was not fair, even though it is the prerogative of the president to actually decide who becomes his cabinet member. Courtesy demands that the young lady should have been informed instead of being allowed to come to the federal parliament and get embarrassed. Well, James, that is a very funny issue. What would have been the reason for this last minute change by the president?
Okay, thank you, George. The news also, like Maryam, the news also got to me shockingly, yes. And the president in the communication read on the floor of the House by the Senate president stated no reason. Simply, the letter read to replace the ministerial nominee, that is Maryam from Kano State, with Dr. Mahmoud, also from Kano State. That was how simple it was.
I think
So,
her replacement was a former commissioner.
yes, a former
Kano
commissioner of higher education who served under the administration of the immediate past governor, yes, whom we are going to talk about his emergence as a national chairman of the ruling of Progressive Congress. So Maryam got replaced, but the good thing is that Maryam herself in her reply, she sounded not emotional. She simply thanked the president, his wife, Kashim Shettima, for their political leadership in her life, their role, for her. In fact, After all, she thanked the president for the opportunity of, first of all, nominating her. So she said she's grateful for being nominated. Though it's her withdrawal, she still remains thankful to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his wife, Kashif Shetima.
And in doing in effecting the replacement, we discovered that the president also sent additional name of the chief spokesman of his campaign.
Yes, Festus Kayamo,
Festus Keyamo,
senior advocate of Nigeria. Yes.
So the letter Festus Keyamo, and then it now was like a kind of oversight that somebody prompted him to now, because Festus Keyamo was one of those staunch supporters of the president. In short, he was the chief spokesman, the director of public affairs in the APC Presidential Campaign Council, who was always there on the screen, always everywhere in the public domain, campaigning fiercely, engaging the opposition strength for strength, wit for wit, and sometimes at a point he gets angry with certain questions thrown at him and with certain allegations raised against Tinubu, up to the fact that you see him foaming with the ferocity of a wounded lion. He did not make the first hit, he did not make the second. And now, like for sudden, Tinubu remembered that his name should be sent to the Senate. Was it an oversight, or what do you think about that scenario?
Well, George, generally, the President Tinubu's ministerial list, both, not both, because there are more than two now. This one make it three. So you can say among all the lists came as a surprise, because there were a lot of speculation even before the first list came out. Names of people from various states, and Festus Kayamo, according to the cyber list, yes, cyber list in quotes, was there. But then all of a sudden, when the main list from the president, where the president appended his signature and said to the parliament, Festus Kayamo's name was missing. And another person from his state was nominated instead. And with the coming of the second list too, Festus Kayamo's name was not there. And the cyberspace or the online platform, became awash with reports, speculations. Some people even mocking Festus Kayamo that, where are you? You gave your all in all for this man. Where are you? Where is Kayamo? And they doing that. They also make allusion to. They also pointed at Femi Fani Kayode, FKK, who was also one of the spokesperson of the campaign organization. So this sudden change, maybe just like you said, my thinking is that the president is not cajoled, but maybe he has hearkened to the voice of reason, that leaving Kayamo there, because somebody who served as a minister. Well, in Nigeria, Nigerians don't take those things for anything, or because of course we have former ministers who are serving as director generals of agencies. So one can never say, because, but in this circumstance, somebody who served as a minister, which other appointment could he probably have been given? I think it's the consideration of that, or will he come? And of course, some former ministers can take appointment as advisors depending on the portfolio.
And of course, I've actually even seen a situation where a former minister will go and take the position of the commissioner in his state. It has happened before. In Nigeria, anything goes.
Yes, anything goes.
As far as
that is why
it will make them to hold on to power.
Yes, which make people, some analysts, refer to us as a banana republic.
Well, thank you, James, for the big issue of the day. We have the change of leadership in the governing All Progressive Congress. Well, within a period of, is it up to months or just weeks, there was a change of pattern in the governing All Progressive Congress. It started when the elsewhere national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi Ganduje, tendered his resignation letter. His resignation was quickly followed by that of the former national secretary of the party, Iyola Omisore. And of course, their resignation generated controversy, and with most Nigerians saying that he was under pressure, and at the end of the day, he was advised to resign. But be that as it may, that has become an issue of the past. What is important now is that the governing party now has a new national chairman in the person of former Kano State Governor Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje. And we also have a new national secretary, the former spokesperson of in the 9th Senate, Senator Ajibola. Well, the National Executive Committee of the APC yesterday declared Ganduje and Senator Ajibola as national chairman and national secretary of the party, respectively. While with the emergence, we still have 6 vacant positions to be filled in the governing APC. This followed the resignation of the legal advisor of the party. And of course, we also have the national vice chairman northwest of the party, who also resigned his appointment, was it last week or so. And then we have the women leader that has been nominated as a minister, just undergone screening in the National Assembly. And then we also have another vacant position. I think that followed the death of the deputy national organizing secretary.
No, I think the deputy national
welfare.
The deputy, or was it? I think the
deputy
national
welfare.
Well, it's from Southeast Zone.
From
Yes,
yes.
It's from Southeast Zone.
About 6 positions are to be filled in the party.
Of course, don't forget the resignation of well, I think since Muri emerged the governorship candidate of SDP, has there been a replacement? Because this particular NWC,
yes, we also have the former deputy national public secretary of the party, Muri Ajaka from Kogi State, who is actually contesting the governorship of Kogi State on the platform of the Social Democratic Party. That is another position. Thank you, James. And of course, we also have the deputy national chairman, Kari, who is actually also a ministerial nominee.
Yes.
These are the vacant positions. And the neck of the party, headed by the leader of the party, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, yesterday gave the fiat to the Ganduje-led NWC to go fill those vacant positions. And of course, there is still the issue of zoning of the national chairmanship hanging loosely on the head of the governing party, where most of the party faithful from the North Central are still agreed about being robbed of a position that ordinarily had been zoned to the North Central. Well, James, we already know all these things in the news. What do you think about the Ganduje led leadership of the APC? Just good and fine, all said and done, they have been installed as the new leadership of the party. Can they survive the crisis that might emanate from this, following the issues of zoning of the party offices at the party?
Well, APC is the governing party of the country. And I've always seen APC as a replica of the entire Nigerian society, where many things, as it is said, go. Why do I say so? The process through which, well, first of all, can I say on a lighter note, congratulations to the former governor of Kano State, who for many thought would be made a minister, but there were no indications that he will eventually become a minister and all the, so now he's the national chairman of the governing party. So the emergence of, there are many issues and many concerns that are being raised, both within and outside the party. Let me go quickly outside the party. As soon as his emergence, the main opposition People's Democratic Party came out with a very strong statement describing that by appointment or by selection, in fact, I don't know the right terminology to use here, but okay, simply put, the emergence of Ganduje, according to the main opposition PDP, was more or less a kind of proof of institutionalization of corruption and not being democratic enough. That is respecting the principles of.
Was it only Labour Party? I think. I mean,
no, I'm just making that is why.
Even Labour Party.
That is why I'm just. I'm just picking one as an example.
Yes.
They mock APC. Yes, that's that because they make an allusion to once upon a time trending video, displaying the then governor, stocking some wads of dollars in his pockets, which was supposedly, or which was interpreted to be some kind of a form of bribe or graft taken from the contractor. So that is that. Then coming to the main part, that period to that, the national vice chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Salihu Lukman, resigned. And one of the reasons he resigned was that he's getting knowledge of plans by the president and some governors and some stakeholders of the party to bring on board His Excellency Omar Ganduje as the national chairman of the ruling party. And if you look at it very well, the last holder of that office who resigned, that is His Excellency Abdullahi Ganduje, was from the North Central geopolitical zone, from Nasarawa State precisely. So, with his exit, it was rather common that a replacement be sought within the zone that whole. But that has not come to stay. So it is now become traditional, it is now become cultural with the APC of jettisoning zoning at any available opportunity. The first incident was with the removal of Adams Oshomole, who was from the South-South geopolitical zone. And what happened? His Excellency May Marabuni
of
Yobe State from Northeast was brought in as caretaker extraordinary committee
chairman.
Yes, and he stayed there, I think, for 2 years, or 2 years, from July 2020 to probably April, or March 2022. And now, with the resignation of Abdullahi Adamu, Ganduje has been brought from the Northwest geopolitical zone. So, in fact, as a party which put itself or pride itself as progressive, where the ethos of democracy are supposed to be its spotlight, supposed to be its beacon, supposed to be its compass of navigating the Nigerian political terrain, it is or it has been expected that they should actually practice what they preach through their manifesto of being balanced, because as it is now, as it was in the case of South, and now in the case of North Central, and the way the thing is happening, these are zones where predominantly we have the minority nations of this country. Yes, if you go to the South, that is where you have, in fact, the bulk of the minorities of this country are within the North Central, within the South. So it's now left much to be desired, because how will these people feel? Because in the case of North Central, these were people who were already crying that they were deprived of getting principals, deprived of getting any of the presiding officers in National Assembly, and the zone simply, the only consolation is that, oh, you have been given, or somebody from your zone has been appointed secretary to the government or the federation.
Well, the situation now is even more dicey, because the resignation of the legal advisor of the party was something that has signaled that all is not too well with the party, and it's not just about the change of leadership. Don't forget that the former national vice chairman northwest of the party, Salihu Lukman, had even alleged financial impropriety, and the national legal advisor or the SY National Legal Advisor is said to be close allied to the former national chairman Abdullahi Ganduje. And there is even this situation where the party has actually, NEC has actually approved the engagement of an external auditor to probe the finances of the party. And the former national legal advisor was also said to be entangled in this financial impropriety, where he was even invited by an anti-graft agency, and they say this could be the reason why he was also asked to resign. Although the reason he gave in his resignation letter is he resigned because of the emergence of Abdullahi Ganduje as national chairman of the party. By the time the external auditors come and start probing, there is the more keen observers of the happenings in APC say more heads would have to roll, because is this belief that there are people who actually connive with the former national chairman and the national secretary to misappropriate funds, especially funds that were meant from the sale of funds of to candidates, cannot be accounted for. And some of the monies that were gotten from the elections last year for national chairmanship, some of the aspirants who bought this from 20 million, the President Buhari had asked that they should return the money to them. Up till now, the aspirants said they have not been given a dime. And the party, according to reports, cannot even account for certain amounts within its cover. What do you think about the situation? That means the former national chairman have to be called upon to account for some of these funds, and I think that is why the NEC yesterday actually approved the engagement of external auditors to control the finances of the party. Do you see the party undergoing this particular probe without a fresh crisis erupting from the governing party?
Okay, thank you, George. All this one, I think only Shakespeare will say that all is well that ends well. So we'll wait for the outcome of all these things. And if it is well, we know when it ends. Why do I have to say that? There has always been at least internal murmuring within the party of corruption over leadership. The leadership of Adam Doshimole was not spared of that. Even the leadership of His Excellency Maryam was not spared of that. The present NWC came on board and made some allusion to, as if attempts to, I think directors were either suspended or asked to go on. Yes. All was that they were perceived form of sharp practices in the administration of the party.
Yes, I remember.
Yes,
as soon as
Abdullahi took
as office, that was what he brought on the table.
purpose was to look at some gray areas, pointing out corrupt practices within the party, that the directors were in connivance with the then leadership of the party. So, if whatever is good for the goose is good for the gander, Adamu should be probed. And if it is probed, we are all waiting. Nigerians are keenly waiting. And those NWC members making some allegations, by the time if that probe happens and it comes out, if this, I don't know, you are at least as a very senior person in the political cycle coverage, you must have heard that what nobody does. Nobody doesn't want to own up to the information. But from grapevine, it has been said that the Abdullahi Ganduje-led NWC paid themselves 4 years up front. So that is why, as a concerned Nigerian, I am very eager to see the external auditor engaged or to be engaged as directed by the National Executive Committee, NEC, of the party. We do the job so that we know. Was it true? Was it true that Lukman Salihu collected 4 years allowances and salaries up front for 4 years and he resigned on account that there was perceived corruption? We then now go and call Kyari when he's a minister? Because I don't know. I don't so much know, but you know, what is the reason? If that is true, what is the rationale? Okay. You pay yourself
because
4 years
what it actually amounts to now is that you were even being paid to a job that you will never do.
Have not done.
Because following your resignation,
Yes.
after within just a period of 1 year, that means you were paid for 3 years without doing the job for which you were paid.
So I can't wait for that APC investigation. I can't wait for that probe. I can't wait for the external auditor to bring out the report. Because just like you said, I think many days will rule. Because if all the NWC members are truly paid, what, 4 years up front, what happens? Probably by then, the president, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, might have inaugurated his cabinet, and we have some ministers who are members of the NWC, and they have paid themselves for 4 years up front, all the allowances.
So what do we say now? Those ones, if they eventually become minister, I think what the president should do is we will be deducting their salaries as minister from source to now pay for the money they collected as NWC members, because that can happen. If it is the common Nigeria, he will be taken to court. He will be prosecuted. He will be charged for corruption, charged for stealing by tricks.
Yes.
But when it has to do with them, the elite, this matter, you want to see? Do you see it? The probe itself, do you see it coming to fruition? Seeing the daylight, where we have known that such other probes, as soon as they are raised, they are thrown under the carpet. Just like when Adamu came and said he was going to probe the Malabuni-led leadership of the party. Nobody heard of it after just a couple of weeks when Adamu raised their hand. Don't you see this going the same direction?
Because I think why I would have said that let's patiently and eagerly wait for that to happen. This is going to bring a lot of integrity tests for even the president, because let's see the recommendations of the external auditor, because there is always a recommendation. And the recommendation comes with sanctions. So let's see how such recommendations will come, the sanctions spread, and how those sanctions will be enforced.
Well, the ball is on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's court to actually do the needful. And of course, the president has actually vowed to fight corruption. And of course, Nigerians expect that if he must start fighting corruption, he must do that from his own house. And in this case, the governing All Progressive Congress, which he is the leader. And in the days to come, we are going to see how the president will handle this issue of financial impropriety in his party, the APC. Although at the National Caucus of the APC held at the Presidential Villa on Wednesday, President Tinubu tasked APC members on financial prudence. And of course, he was actually referring to reports of financial impropriety in the party. Well, this is the much we can take for today's edition of The Big Issue. And of course, I'll thank our in-house analyst, James Quinn, for addressing the big issue. And of course, I'll not fail to thank you, our viewers, for keeping tab with us out there. Join us same time on Monday for another edition of this program. Have a very wonderful weekend.
The big issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The big issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The big issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The big issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.